How's it going, everyone? Today I'm right outside the 1069 Stat Cruiser. I've got about 50 bales of a clover grass mix left out in the field that I want to pick up this morning, and then I'm hoping to hop on the hay rakes and start raking, and then maybe about mid-afternoon I can hop back on this thing and pick some bales up after I get someone else going on the baler. It's just a rough sketch of today. Not sure if that made any sense to you guys, but it did to me. Oh boy. It's a rough start machine. Owner abused the machine. This is the stack I dumped last night. Well, it fell over. What I'm thinking what happened was in some spots the straw is real thin and other spots are a little thicker. I think I might have dumped it on a thicker spot of straw, which allowed it to be unstable and fall over the way it did. The reason why we dump on straw is so the straw absorbs the moisture coming up out of the ground. That way the bottom of these bales, because these bales will be standing on edge like this, but if we didn't have the straw here, the bottom of these bales would get a little moldy. Now if there's a little mold on it, which with this one's not, but let's just say if it did have mold, typically you can just brush it off. It's not like the whole bale's ruined or not. But since the stack's fallen over and I only have 20 or so bales, I'm just gonna dump it and I'll just restack it tomorrow or another day. Bit with the hay rakes. I'm out here with the rake, and to set this rake up, there's this hydraulic remote right here, and as you see, this hydraulic remote controls the hitch and which way you want it to go. To do is I like to set this up so wherever that rake is on that side. So now that I've moved that a bit, I'm going to drive forward and see if I like that distance or not. I want to go more than that. So now that we have this center hitch here in the position where we want it, which I like to have this tire, the front rake, lined up with this tire on this hitch here. Well, what this allows us to do is it allows us, instead of just running one rake width, we can now run almost 2 rake widths. But the next thing we need to do to set this up is we have to move these hand cranks to get it to lower down. Stick right here. But yeah, and it takes two hands to do so. And I'm sorry about the wind, I just can't help it. So you're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. Now when I set these up, I want it, the height, to where we're barely just touching the ground at the lowest point. So it's not touching the ground, but it's just barely off the ground. Probably around a ½ inch to an inch off the ground. But the last thing you need to do to set these rakes up is this rake is ground driven by these tires connected to the shaft, the gearbox here. Well, we need to activate that gearbox. So we're gonna pull this. Tricky to do with one hand. There we go. We're gonna pop that up. Now, this rake, I can't spin it by hand anymore because the tire's gonna spin it for me. And I'll repeat the same process with this back rake. Now, since it is windy, I suspect some of the hay, when we go to rake, it's gonna blow away and out of the windrow. So we might take a little bit of a crop loss on what we can rake and not rake. It's just one of those negatives about raking in the wind. You get a nice cool breeze as an operator raking on an open cab tractor, but then some of the crop tends to blow out. It's not much, but it is some. But I gotta get this done today because tomorrow I have to go back to school. So I hope you enjoy this nice little montage or time lapse of the rake. I hope you enjoyed that nice little montage of the hay rake. I'm going to continue raking, and then I'll catch you back here shortly to end the video on the stack cruiser. I'm out here in the field that I just raked with the stack cruiser. I got my grandpa going on the baler somewhere in that general direction, but I don't expect this field to yield very much, maybe 20 bales an acre. I mean, these are really light windrows. It is alfalfa, as you can see. Those bales down there, they got some unwanted grass in there, so it's gonna yield a little more just in that low spot. But it's just that part of the field. Other than that, the rest of this field is just this alfalfa right here, and it's just not much. I have this field, and then there's a 10-acre field back that way. Then I'll be done with third cut hay, and I'm telling you what, I can't wait to be done. I'm crossing my fingers this will be the last day. I'm not gonna get it done if I can continue talking here, so I'll get going. The bales were short enough to where it wasn't tripping this lever. So what I did here is there's this adjustment that I can move back and forth. So I adjusted it closer so it should trip now. To end today's video here, guys. My SD card space on my camera is about out, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you could, please leave a like on the video and comment down below. Thanks. Bye.